Hello, everyone. We'll get started in a minute. There should be some more people joining. They might kind of just join in as we're started, and we're also going to record this session if everybody's okay with that. If you've got any objections, I'll put them. Obviously, let me know. We'll put them in the chat. So yeah, it's going to be a quite a kind of low key session today. Just really glad that we've got Claire, Taylor, and Danielle speaking today. So it's yeah. Hello everyone. Hello Sam. Yeah, so you can use the chat box to kind of put any comments in there, any kind of links to kind of any useful opportunities events. So my name's Sarah, and I'll just be kind of hosting the session today and handing over to Claire, Taylor, and then Danielle. So they'll kind of introduce themselves, tell you a bit about kind of their background and kind of where they are now. So yeah, please feel free to kind of put any questions in the chat. We'll try and get through those, and we'll also kind of record it as well and follow up with any questions that don't get answered today. Yeah, just a couple of opportunities that are available, and I'll put some links in the chat as we go along. So I know that there's an IST kind of let me see the right title, Innovation Literacy Training Program available for apprentices taking place at Manchester on the 3rd and 4th of March. So I'll put the link in there. So if that's useful for anybody to kind of have a look at, and it's CPD accredited and everything, then yeah, take a look at that. We've also got an NTAM network, which is possibly how some of you have heard about this. So if that's something that you're not part of and want to be or introduced to colleagues, then it's quite an active network, again, just promoting kind of any opportunities, tips and hints for people managing apprentices, and then for apprentices themselves to kind of, to kind of put any comments on there as well. And then we also have a heated training course called Support and Apprentices, which gets really good feedback and is really people have found really helpful. And that takes place on the 20th of May. So again, I'll put a link in there, and please kind of share with any colleagues that might be interested or it might be helpful for them. So yeah, so thank you everyone for joining. Yeah, we're going to start off this apprentice showcase with so I think the first person to speak is going to be Taylor Williams, and she's based at the University of Leeds. Then we're going to hear from Claire to get a like manager's perspective of managing apprentices, and then we've got Danielle Edwards from Nottingham Trent University. So they're going to kind of share their slides and kind of share their experiences on there. So yeah, we'll get started with Taylor if everybody's good to go. So yeah, are you okay sharing your screen, Claire?
Yeah,
Fabulous.
we're just 1 second. Technical human error.
Yes, we're all experienced in that. So yeah, we feel your pain.
We were all set up and then now we're not.
Yeah, please do use the chat box, everyone, just to say hello and where you're from, and any questions you've got as we go along as well.
Okay, is that visible?
Yes, all good to go.
Okay.
Hello everyone, I'm Taylor, a level 3 laboratory apprentice. Today I'm going to share my journey into the apprenticeship, the different technician roles I've experienced, the project work I've been involved in, and how this apprenticeship has shaped me. To be honest, in secondary school, I was never sure what I wanted to do career-wise. I decided I wanted to do a BTEC at college rather than A-levels, as I've always struggled with theory-based learning. In year 11, I applied for a beauty therapy course, but after thinking about it, I changed my mind last minute and applied for an electrical installation course instead. I did enjoy all aspects of science in school, and I thought it would be a good choice as it is linked to physics. After leaving secondary school at 16 with all 8 of my GCSEs in 2021, I applied for a job straight away to gain my own money and independence. I began the electrical installation course in October of the same year. Throughout the 2 years of the course, I was looking for apprenticeships as this was encouraged by our tutor. I did not find an apprenticeship during this course. I finished college in 2023. After completing the course, I realised that it wasn't quite for me. I took a break after 2 years of not finding an apprenticeship. I did know that I wanted to get into the scientific field somehow. I've always found biology interesting and assumed that the only route is through A-levels and university. So in January of 2024, I applied to an Access to Higher Education course at Leeds Sixth Form College in biology and chemistry. If that's the case, why don't I choose A-levels and university the first time? The simple answer is that I've always struggled with learning information through only theory-based learning. I learn a lot better from hands-on learning, and I always have. Anyway, after starting the course in September of 2024, I still had a look every now and again on the government website for apprenticeships and saw this apprenticeship and applied through the University of Leeds website. In all honesty, I didn't think I stood a chance as I have no previous experience and my knowledge of science was GCSE level. After uploading my CV and answering all the questions, I pressed submit and hope for the best and tried not to think too much about the outcome, as I already had my job and had begun the Access to Higher Education course. After a few months of not hearing anything, I received an email saying that I had been offered an interview. I was so shocked and anxious that I wanted it to go well. I did not tell my friends or family. The interview process involved extracting DNA from a strawberry and being interviewed by 4 people. A few days after the interview, I had been offered one of the 3 apprenticeship spots. I remember getting off the train and reading that email. I was so excited and happy to go home and tell my mum and everyone else. I practically ran home. I did have to leave the Access to Higher Education course and began this apprenticeship in October 2024. I applied for this apprenticeship because I've always been fascinated by biology, how something you can't see like a virus affects your body with your immune system responding to it and trying to solve the problem automatically. The precise and accurate procedure that goes into scientific processes like IVF can help provide people with the opportunity to have children. This apprenticeship gave me the opportunity to experience the scientific field without prior experience and qualifications minus GCSEs. The apprenticeship gave me the chance to gain more of an understanding and pick up techniques through practical lab work. As mentioned, my preferred learning style is through hands-on learning. So being able to learn about something that I am interested in, a learning style that suits me, and I didn't need previous experience, really persuaded me to apply. Beginning the apprenticeship, I was really anxious about settling into a new team and making mistakes. Seeing all the pieces of expensive equipment I've never heard of, I was worried about something going wrong. Personally, for me, the first challenge I felt was a lack of experience and confidence in myself. But the small wins were getting through all the induction training and slowly easing into the lab environment, through collecting glassware and receiving and storing deliveries. The team that are around me also really helped me settle into my new role, making me feel reassured and comfortable. This really helped me feel like I was a part of the team. Throughout my apprenticeship, I've had the great opportunity to experience 3 different technician careers. I'm a part of the scientific operations team who help maintain the building and support lab users. Some examples are collecting glassware, autoclaving media, ordering supplies, changing gas cylinders, and much more, all to ensure the building runs smoothly. One day a week, I get to experience what it is like to be a teaching technician. To help set up the lab for students' practical sessions, I have helped make media and stocks, clean the lab before the students return for a new semester, and set up bench spaces. All these things and many more contribute to teaching delivery. As of more recently, one day a week, I get to experience what it is like to be a research technician. I've received hands-on training to be able to run RT-qPCR experiments in the lab independently, using equipment like a centrifuge, tissue lyser, and a light cycler, which is a qPCR machine. The main differences I've experienced so far are close teamwork, being in the SOT and having a shared inbox. We work together to solve a problem. To teaching, which is a lot of setting up and a lot of time management goes into this as there are multiple teaching days. To research, which is quite independent lab work with everyone working on their own projects. The group I'm doing my lab placement with are doing research about fat metabolism and obesity. As part of this research, I've run qPCR experiments on brown adipose tissue and white adipose tissue. Brown adipose tissue is a type of good fat. It plays a crucial role in newborn babies to generate heat to help maintain their core body temperature after birth. This good fat burns white fat as fuel to create heat. The amount of brown adipose tissue decreases as we get older and during obesity. White adipose tissue is our typical fat store, providing insulation, and it is located around the hips and stomach. The research group is conducting investigation to see if brown adipose tissue can be activated in adults as treatment for obesity and type 2 diabetes. To do so, what I do is run qPCR experiments. The first being RNA extraction, which is following a protocol to extract the genes from tissue samples of both brown and white fat. Next is cDNA synthesis, and this is converting RNA into cDNA. This is to make a more stable version of that gene. And qPCR setup, this involves planning qPCR plates, preparing reactions, and running the qPCR plate to amplify the gene of interest, and finally data analysis, which is comparing these genes. Using the qPCR technique to measure gene expression and interpret results has really strengthened my skills. Repeating this process has helped me improve my accuracy with pipetting, attention to detail, and confidence in handling complex data. From this, I've been included on a research paper, which is something I never imagined before. Outside the lab, I had opportunities for public engagement, which were found by my line manager, Claire. I have been involved in the BBC Bite-Sized Careers Tour, which gave secondary school students the opportunity to ask myself and two panellists questions about how they got into their career via a non-university route. The BBC Bite-Sized sessions lasted 4 hours in total per day. I attended 2 days of the tour, visiting 2 different schools, one in Wetherby and one in Morley. I spoke to 4 different year groups at each school. Each session with the year groups was an hour long. It was good for me to learn how to adapt how I taught to the younger year groups, from year 11s asking me how I applied for the apprenticeship to year 7s asking if I blow things up and what colour my job is. I also participated in the New Scientist Live event in London for 1 day, staying overnight in accommodation nearby the event. I helped with the Technicians We Make the Difference stand. The event welcomed school children of different ages to learn about the different technician careers that are available. At the stand, they were encouraged to answer the careers quiz, try pipette in different volumes. I helped to explain what a micropipette is and how to use one, and how it's a skill used frequently in a lab. Both opportunities were run and funded by the Gatsby Foundation, who promote technical careers to young people aged 11 to 16. As part of promoting technical careers, last Friday I had an interview to be able to create a profile for myself on the Technicians We Make the Difference website. This is to tell different stories and experiences to young people. A big challenge for me was dealing with nerves, especially starting something new or speaking in front of people. I overcame this from the support of my team and by pushing myself out of my comfort zone, participating in the BBC Bite-Sized Careers Tour, the New Scientist Live event, and even now. As a result, I've become more confident and I will be willing to participate in public engagement events in the future. This apprenticeship has helped me grow personally and professionally. Since starting the apprenticeship, I've become more confident and comfortable in being in the lab environment. I've been able to take responsibility for my tasks, such as calibrating the pH meters weekly, using a centrifuge, and running an autoclave independently. I've been on lots of training courses, such as goods receipting, gas cylinder, liquid nitrogen, and dangerous goods by air courses, and many more, all of which helped me expand my knowledge and experience. Participating in the BBC Bite-Sized Tour and the New Scientist Lab event really pushed me out of my comfort zone. Speaking to such large numbers of people used to be my worst nightmare. If you're considering doing an apprenticeship, here's my advice. Keep going. The right apprenticeship will come if you keep looking. Don't compare your journey with anyone else's, and you don't need to be perfect right away. You just need to start. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Taylor. That's an amazing talk. Thank you. Yeah, I think you certainly threw yourself into the deep end with the BBC Bite-Size opportunity. So yeah, that's an amazing journey.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to go to Claire now. Yeah, if anyone's got any questions, we can ask them at the end, or you can pop them in the chat and we can come to them. Yeah, after everybody's spoken, if that's okay. So yeah, Claire is now going to talk through her experiences.
Okay, can you, oops, see my slides okay?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, excellent. Okay, hi, I'm Claire and I'm a teaching technician on a clinical embryology MSc in the Leeds Institute of Cardiovascular and Metabolic Medicine, which we call LICAM for short, here at the University of Leeds. And when I was first asked to give this presentation, my initial thought was, what am I going to say? because, to be perfectly honest, line managing Taylor's been an absolute dream. So really, this is just an overview of some of the things we've done, how we've tackled some challenges along the way. From the outset, I probably need to say that I wasn't involved in setting up our programme. Taylor is our first apprentice in LICAM, so there's been a lot of firsts for both Taylor and myself. Taylor's now 18 months into her apprenticeship, and I've been her line manager for almost a year. And when I was asked if I'd be interested in taking on the line management responsibilities, it really sort of felt like a natural fit. Taylor had already spent a bit of time with me in the teaching lab, and we'd built a good working relationship. But although I've done quite a lot of personal academic tutoring in the past as part of my job, this is actually my first official line management role. So in our building, we've got over 20 technicians and they work in operations, in teaching and in research. And what this has meant for Taylor is that she's got exposure to a multidisciplinary environment. She's had the opportunity to communicate with all different types of lab users, from professors to postgraduate students. She's part of a technical community, not just within our building, but also within the faculty and the wider university. But most importantly, she's able to contribute meaningfully to the smooth running of the building, to research and to teaching delivery on a daily basis. So for me, one of the earliest challenges was realising that apprenticeships seem to come with an entirely new language. For example, KSBs, knowledge, skills and behaviours, OTJ, off-the-job training, EPAs, endpoint assessments, and there was definitely a bit of learning that I needed to do. Taylor's College Assessor has really helped me explain a lot of it, and I just need really to just drop her an email if I need an answer to something. In terms of off-the-job training for Taylor, that looks at like 6 hours per week. And because she started her apprenticeship in 2024, that's what she's supposed to do. But the guidelines have since been updated. I'm aware of that. And it looks like it can be anything really, from shadowing other technicians, attending technician meetings and workshops, completing internal training. Taylor's taken part in some of our sustainability initiatives, such as a freezer challenge, learning research techniques, helping with teaching prep and attending external training and conferences. I think that as a line manager, off-the-job training is something that you just really need to be aware of to make sure that your apprentice is keeping it logged. And it just might be that your apprentice doesn't always realise that some of the things that they are doing count as off-the-job training, particularly that sort of attending meetings and internal training courses. From my perspective, I really recommend the Heated Supporting Apprentices course. At Leeds, we were really fortunate. Caleb and Karen delivered it here on site, but it really was informative, and it gave me much more confidence in terms of understanding the apprenticeship structure and helping me to support Taylor more effectively. The next challenge was understanding the KSBs, and these are the knowledge, skills and behaviours that an apprentice needs to develop and demonstrate to successfully complete their apprenticeship and pass their endpoint assessment. So for knowledge, it's what the apprentices must know to be competent, skills, what they must be able to do in real world practice, behaviours, professional attitudes and conduct expected in the role. And they matter because they form the core of every apprenticeship standard. They guide the training, the portfolio development and workplace learning, and they're used in the endpoint assessment to judge competency. For me, I printed them out and I used an Excel spreadsheet to start to map them to some of the tasks that we have in the lab. And I've just put an example here of a couple of the tasks that I did and broke down. This is absolutely just the way that I did it, but, you know, obviously you'll have your own ways of doing it. But it really did help me to understand how our everyday tasks in the lab were aligning with the KSBs. And what it meant for me also was that it highlighted that the KSBs that were not easily covered by the day-to-day roles in teaching and operations, and it really highlighted those to me. For example, as a teaching technician, the skills such as statistical tests, which is S12, keeping accurate records of lab work is an S10, and contributing to the preparation reports, which is S11. We don't really do a lot of that, and they're a much more natural fit with the work of a research technician. So it's been really crucial for Taylor to have the opportunity to spend time with the research group. But by starting in operations and building skills in teaching, she's now able to do some really great work with that research group. And that's been recognised as she's got her name on a paper that's going to be submitted for publication. So it really is worth looking through the KSBs early as a line manager to see where you might need to call on the help and expertise of some other people. One of the things I'm really proud of is that Taylor has been so willing to embrace opportunities outside of the university. By chance, I came across a LinkedIn post by Technicians We Make a Difference, and they were asking for early career and apprentice technicians who got into the role via a non-university route, and they wanted them to support outreach and engagement. And I suggested it to Taylor, and she was really interested and got in touch with them. And she's participated in the BBC Bite Size Tour and the New Scientist Live. These activities have been really important in terms of building confidence and skills in public speaking, but they're also really great for CV building. Looking forward, Taylor's been asked to complete the profile, as she said, for their website, and she's also hoping to take part in the Big Bang Fair in Birmingham. Other opportunities without the public speaking element has been she attended the IST Technical Conference last year, and she's applied and is attending the 2-day apprentice training opportunity next month. It is worth keeping an eye out, as there's some really great opportunities for apprentices, and a lot of them are either free of charge or heavily discounted. So these are some of the resources that we've used over the last year or so. It's not a definitive list by any means, but both Taylor and I have attended heated courses, the ITSS Autumn and Winter Springfest free courses, IST conferences. I use the Science Council for information on professional registration, which Taylor will apply for when she's completed her endpoint assessment. Taylor's applied to attend the NTDC Partner Forum in Sheffield, and all of that counts to her off-the-job training. I've also popped a couple of other LinkedIn groups on here that might be useful or interesting. So this has absolutely been a team effort, and I've been really lucky that there's a fantastic group of people in LICAM who are really willing to give their time and share their knowledge with Taylor and I. A massive thank you to the scientific operations team and Amanda McCannell. What I've learned is that no matter how much experience you start with, whether it's a lot or a little, being an apprentice line manager, it's really rewarding, and I would absolutely recommend it to anyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire. Yeah, that's been really informative, and yeah, I'm sure it's kind of helped a lot of people to then go and have a look at, like you say, some of those resources and opportunities that are available. So yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, we're going to move on to Danielle, who's based at Nottingham Trent University, and you're going to talk through your experiences.
Yep. So sharing my screen. So hi, I'm Danielle. I work at Nottingham Trent University as an assistant technician, and this is my story and how my apprenticeship has changed my life. And my journey in school didn't really give me an opportunity where I was able to achieve good grades in my GCSEs. This was partly due to being a young carer for my mum, who had Usher's syndrome, and caused me not to be able to attend school as often as I probably should have done. I also began to change as a person due to my surroundings, and those changes led me to feel like school wasn't that important and that it isn't as though I'm going to go on to university. So what was the point in trying? Those feelings were also because I required additional support in school. So when I hadn't been attending due to looking after my mum, someone was supposed to be available to help me catch up on work that I missed out on. That was never an option. It left me struggling to sit exams. I ended up with low grades. But my mum also had to mainly focus on herself due to her health concerns. And it meant that I did need to mature and grow faster than my peers, which then gave me a little bit of resentment in school. What lessons I did attend, I did still struggle to understand the methods and the way that the lessons was being taught to us. Due to that, I would ask if there'd be any other way or additional work that I could do so that I could try to build my understanding. But again, that wasn't an option. Inevitably, that caused me to lose a lack of faith within the education system, and I accepted I would never receive a good education and just have a basic job as I get older. I knew before leaving secondary school that further education wouldn't be an option for me anyway, due to the costs and my mum's financial position. But I also knew that I would never be able to achieve the grades I'd need to go to university due to not being able to complete the work. After leaving school, I met my ex-husband, and we went on to have children and raised my 3 boys who are there in the photo. It was during that time I accepted my life as it was, and that will just hop from job to job. I had already accepted my future and didn't think much of it. Raising my children was my main priority. It was during that time that I'd lost quite a few people who were quite significant to me. And it caused some feelings that I didn't understand, but I knew I had to continue for my children. I was in and out of many different lines of work. None of them really satisfied me, and I never really felt like I was accomplishing anything. And it gave me some food for thought. I just didn't want to be sailing along in life. But how could I change my life was my lingering question. This shows briefly how my life has changed since being at secondary school and now 21 years later. I know what I want and I'll do what I can to achieve it. I can't say where my drive came from. I know looking after my children and losing my parents, that made me want to make them all proud and to learn from the mistakes that they'd made. I say mistakes as though they did something wrong. They didn't do anything wrong. They just followed society and thought that higher education would never be an option for them or their children, as much as they would like for us to have gone to do higher education. I have realised that I need to make my own future, and it's only me that can achieve what I want in life by working hard, speaking up, and taking opportunities that come my way. And I do believe 2 of my children starting football journeys gave me a bit of a drive forward. I don't want to speak bad of my parents, but they weren't in a situation to offer me a helping hand to accomplish my dreams. So by adjusting how I raise my kids and from the choices that my parents made during my upbringing, it is giving me the opportunity to help my children to achieve their dreams. And in the process, I'm actually able to achieve my own. I began work at Nottingham Trent University as a morning cleaner. I'd start at 5:30 in the morning and finish at 9:15. And I'd do regular overtimes in the afternoon as well. It was in this role that I obtained a team leader's qualification. And it was the course that made me realise I enjoyed learning, as I was able to complete that 12-week course within 4 days, where I'd done all the research, I'd written all my assignments, and I submitted all the work and I had nothing back, and I did actually pass it all. That was a boost to my confidence and in education. And it was during my morning cleaning that I'd be in some of the science lab, and it would interest me looking at different samples that they'd have on the sides and reading all the different work that the students was doing. So when I was told that chemistry was looking for a full-time assistant technician, I jumped at the chance, and I was lucky enough to be offered the position after my interview. once I'd started in chemistry, my interest heightened and I wanted to learn more. Any opportunity to do more in the lab, I offered and jumped at the chances being put my way. I knew that Nottingham Trent University was funding staff for apprenticeships, so I asked if I could go on one. And I was extremely thankful to be funded for the level 3 apprenticeship. But to be able to do it, I did need to do my functioning skills and improve my GCSE grades. I completed both subjects and sat the exams within 6 weeks, and I passed them both. And that was a huge confidence boost for me and massively contributed to the excitement of starting an apprenticeship. I've now sat 2 lots of exams for my apprenticeship. I have received the results for one, and that one was a merit, and I'm still waiting for the last lot of results. I was absolutely thrilled that at my age, I was able to accomplish a merit on a written exam. And this gave me even more drive to want to do more. Since starting my apprenticeship, I do try to explain to my kids that it doesn't matter what age you are, you can accomplish anything if you want it. Go and get it. I just hope that they're listening. Oh, 1 second, because I need to go back. This is, oh, there we go. This is the main lab on our campus, and staff know it as Super Lab, and that was the original name at its construction, but now that building is known as Rosalind Franklin. And it's in here that I'm allowed to practice practical investigations for my apprenticeship, where my line manager, Mark, always tries to accommodate my practicing and helps me to learn techniques. I'm given support for my apprenticeship, not only by my own department, but also from biology and physics. And I know any help that I do need, someone will be there to help and teach me. The provider I'm with for my apprenticeship is CSR. And I do feel for my tutor having to put up with me sometimes, as I am a flapper, and sometimes I do overthink. And my tutor does reassure me, and if I feel that I need more work to practice, she will give me new ideas and ways to improve where I feel like I need improvement on. I'm not just shut down, and that has had a huge impact, and it helps me to continue going forward. Since doing my apprenticeship, my life and my work life have changed quite a lot. I'm more knowledgeable. I enjoy my job. I'm able to tell my story. And I do want to go on to do my level 5 to learn even more. I've also had support from Emma, who is my mentor, and she is the person that has nominated me to the Royal Society of Chemistry Apprenticeship Awards. And that's something I never even thought could be possible. And I am thrilled at being nominated for it. Emma is aware I want to go on to do my level 5, and I know she will be behind me, supporting me to get on to do my level 5. This is a level I never thought would be an option for me. And yet here I am, coming to the end of my level 3 and having discussions about wanting to go on to do a higher level. Seeing as school had been a problem for me, I'd always anticipated it'd be a matter of time until it was going to affect my children. And it did, but it was under very different circumstances to mine. But because I am now doing an apprenticeship, it actually gave me the courage to take my children out of school and to homeschool them. And since then, 2 of my children are now at college and absolutely doing amazing, and my youngest is thriving. My main supporters throughout it all have been my husband and my children, and without them, things would be very different for me. I'm now in a place where I'm happy, I'm learning, and I'm thriving, and that's the only way I can describe how I feel. My 30s has been a blast, and I'm now a couple of years from 40, and I can't wait to start the next chapter on a level 5 apprenticeship. Who knows what the future holds, but what I do know is any opportunities that are coming my way, I'm going to grab them with both hands. I'm even hoping to go on to get a bigger house this year so we can have more space to cater for 3 teenagers, a husband, and 3 dogs. And that's, again, something that I would never have thought would have been possible for me unless I was on an apprenticeship. I appreciate your time in listening to my story, and if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Danielle. Yeah, that's amazing. It's like a really inspirational story. Like, yeah, you kind of really are making your own success. It's like fabulous to hear about. Thank you. Yeah, does anybody kind of want to ask any questions to any of our speakers? kind of unmute yourselves and ask away if anyone's got any. There's a few in the chat as well. Shall we start with those? I think Thomas, you were asking a question earlier on from Claire and Taylor. I don't know if you want to unmute yourself and ask, or you don't want me to just read it out. I don't know if Thomas is still here, but you basically asked, thanks for sharing. Really interesting to hear about your apprenticeship journey. How did you find the transition from school into a full-time apprenticeship? So I think that was Taylor.
Yeah, no worries. It was a bit overwhelming at first. Like obviously, I didn't know what to expect too much. I did go to college and work alongside, but obviously it was a bit more part-time being at college, whereas this is full-time work, and obviously remembering to record everything that I'm doing, and also go to college 1 day a week, and just trying to find a balance with work, college, and life. But I've got a lot of people around me to support me, so I'm easing a bit more into it now, and know obviously what to expect and how to balance it all.
Right, thank you. Yeah, and I think that's come through from what Danielle was saying as well, having that kind of team support of, you're not just a line manager in your workplace, but kind of other people allowing you time to kind of practice those skills and giving you opportunities to do things that's kind of come across from what I've been hearing today. So it's, again, I guess it's like staff that you're working with at Nottingham, Trent and Leeds. Yeah, kind of giving those opportunities. Like I just wanted to ask, yeah, because I think you were saying around at Leeds, Claire, that this is the first time you've kind of line managed and kind of put in place, looking at the KSBs and mapping those out. And is that something that you'll kind of look to expand out into Leeds to support other managers who might be managing, or is that some already in existence?
No, and I think probably the other managers probably have their own way of doing it. It just really was for me really to wrap my head around it, and it was just a technique that I used, because I wasn't involved in the setup of the program. I'm not sure sort of where the program's going, or whether there's an opportunity for us to take on more apprentices next year, or really. So yeah.
Thanks, Claire. There's also a question come in. Oluwaze, I don't know if do you want to unmute and ask it, or do you want me to ask it? So the question is, what made your application stand out? Was there anything specific you did? Oh, sorry, you haven't got on mic. Yeah, was there anything specific that you did that you think helped? So I guess that's directed at Danielle and Taylor.
As I said, like I don't have experience of working in a lab before applying. I think after doing the interview, I thought I wouldn't be offered an apprenticeship, but I think I was just being honest with how passionate I was and how much I enjoyed science, so maybe that helped me stand out a lot, and just being honest with them. Yeah, I think that's...
Thanks, Taylor.
I
Danielle,
think
do you want to say anything about your application?
Yeah, for me, it was a little bit different for my application because I was already employed as an assistant technician. So me doing the apprenticeship helps me get on to technician level. So I don't know, like, when it comes to my application, because like I say, I was already employed, so I didn't really have to apply the way that some apprentices do.
Yeah. And I guess, like, just as a carry on from that, like, from both of you, I'd be interested, like, now that you are apprentices, is there like kind of support from other apprentices, either within your university or further afield, that you kind of draw support on or kind of ask questions of, or is that something that potentially could be set
I'm
up?
in a group chat on WhatsApp with my cohort, and we do support each other through that. There is other apprentices that's on that are with Nottingham Trent University as well. And if we need help from each other, yeah, we're always open to helping each other. We are in different departments, so we will just like drop each other a message and things if we need any help with anything in particular, and they're always there ready to help.
Yeah, great. And Taylor, have you got anything from your experiences with Leeds, working at Leeds?
Yeah, there is two other apprentices based in biology, and we do stay in touch, like say for meet up, or I do go to college with one of them 1 day a week. So it's just who worked at the University of Leeds previously, and they really helped with like my nerves. I was really anxious at start at the beginning and thinking about making a mistake and everything going wrong, and it really helped me calm down and feel me a lot more reassured. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Anybody else got any questions for Claire, Danielle, or Taylor? Just going to check I've not missed anything on the chat, but yeah, feel free to on mic and speak if you've got anything else you want to say to anybody on there. Just checking I've not missed anything. Yeah, there's just lots of kind of people commenting saying, yeah, a great story, Danielle, such a turnaround, well done, inspirational. Yeah, I'd kind of echo that as well. Yeah, Mark, you said about the KSB mapping, great idea, need to give it a go. So you're at Birmingham, Mark?
Yeah. We've got a couple, well, I've got a few apprentices, but I don't think my apprentices worry as much as me about off-the-job training and the KSBs. I'm in a panic about them all the time.
So yeah, in terms of kind of gathering enough kind of evidence to then
Yeah,
report
just
back. Yeah.
exactly making sure that they've got the right amount.
Yeah. I think at Birmingham you've got quite an established group of apprentices, is that right? Because I know,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm guessing there must be around about 15 on site, and we've also got an apprentice team which offers us a lot of support. So we do quite well in this respect.
yeah, it's great. And Thomas, you've put another question in. Do you want to ask it rather than me?
Hi there. Yeah, it's just to see whether for Claire and Taylor, whether you could share any links to how we might inquire about the BBC Bite-sized stuff and the New Scientist tool. I don't know if they're, other than just quickly look on their website, I don't know if there's a quicker way of inquiring about a bit more information on it.
We did it through LinkedIn.
Okay.
So we spotted the opportunities on LinkedIn. So I would suggest going to the technicians We Make a Difference, and if you go through their posts, you can inquire. There's all sorts of information on there. I think that's probably the best way. And I found just by actually, following some of these sites that actually
Yeah.
other things started to crop up in my feed, which sometimes is a blessing and sometimes is a curse. But
Yeah.
if you've got the time to go through them, these things do pop up. But get in touch with me if Sarah's got we'll have my contact details if you're struggling to find any information.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Great. Yeah, I just had a question for Danielle because yeah, you said you kind of came into the route already as a member of staff, and I think that's something in particular a lot of universities are trying to do is encourage, kind of current members of staff with their development through like, various apprentice routes. Is there any kind of advice or challenges that you'd kind of highlight to people really about doing that as a development opportunity?
Just keep asking.
Okay.
I am one of them people that I will just keep asking and asking and asking and asking, and I'll keep going to different people asking to see if they can help me get on the apprenticeship and if that's what it needs. So, yeah, it's just being persistent.
Yeah.
It is, and I mean, I was lucky anyway. Like NTU was very open to putting me on the apprenticeship and things like that, so I didn't have to go hounding people and stuff. But for my level 5, I don't know whether I'll be able to just get on it as easily as I did my level 3. So I will be persistent until I get on my level 5.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you say, you're kind of having that evidence and of the skills that you've gained will all help with that application, won't it, for the next level? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant. Well, yeah, thank you. And it just if there's any more questions, people just saying, yeah, fabulous insight. You've all achieved so much in such a short time. Yeah. And yeah, if there's no more questions for our speakers, we will obviously share this as a resource on our website. So do look there for anything. And I think I've posted the link that Claire mentioned for the Support and Apprentices course, which is coming up in the 20th of May, which a lot of people, we get really good feedback, and it's really useful for people who are kind of taking that first step into kind of managing apprentices. So yeah, kind of get that advice. And like I say, yeah, the IST one that you mentioned that Taylor, you're going on to in Manchester again, and there's a link for that because that looks really good, and I think it is, like you say, heavily funded, or there's not a lot of cost to it for people, so it certainly looks worthwhile. But yeah, anybody else got any opportunities we can share on our NTAM network and just let people aware of anything coming up apprentice wise. But yeah, it just leaves me to say thank you to Danielle, to Claire and Taylor for your time, and for everyone else for taking the time to join today and participate. So yeah, we'll finish it there. But thank you everyone for your time. And
Thank you
take
for
care.
giving me the opportunity to share my story.
Yes, yeah, brilliant. Yeah. Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.